zox.net. Lesson 25. Specialized Text. HTML provides elements for various types of specialized text. These types are functional and represent some of the more common applications of text on the web, like computer programs and general publishing-related content. Our first example demonstrates the abbreviation and citation elements. As is the case with almost all of these elements, these are inline elements. An abbreviation element is used for AD, which is the abbreviation for Anno Domini, as indicated in the title attribute. A citation element is placed around the Nicene Creed. Opening this document, we see that AD has a dotted underline beneath it, and Nicene Creed is italicized. The underline only appears because we use the title attribute on AD, and if we hover over it, the title appears as we have seen before. The Nicene Creed is italicized, which is just the default styling. However, the appearance is not the important part. What is essential is that these elements are accessible as abbreviations or citations. To illustrate this, we can style them with color, as we do here, with the abbreviation in blue and the citation in green. We can add an aside to this example with a definition inside like this. Opening this document, the aside does not appear any different, but the defined term, General Counsel, is italicized. Again, these stylings are not particularly relevant, but we can color each element differently for illustration. An aside element is used to define tangential information, and the definition is used to designate a term that is being defined. Here the gray aside element contains the red definition element. The aside element is a block level element, and the definition element is inline, as this shows. This example introduces some of the more eccentric elements. First, we have the details and summary elements. The details and summary elements are ideally used together. The summary gives a shorter description that is displayed to indicate what is contained in the details. The dialog element is used to create a little window that contains its text message, much like a normal dialog. Opening the document, we see the summary text and a box with the dialog text in it. We can click on the arrow to open the details to see its content. Both the details and the dialog element have an open attribute. What the open attribute does for the detail element is pretty obvious, and without the open attribute, the dialog is not visible. For illustration, we can color the elements as we do here. The summary is red, the details are gray, and the dialog is yellow. The abbreviation is blue, and the citation is green as before. Our last example is full of computer and programming-related elements. We have the keyboard element, which represents key presses, the variable element, which defines variables, the sample element that describes a program's output, and finally the code element that defines code from programs. This larger code element is a C# program with the variables inside it contained in variable elements. Below it is a sample element that contains the output from this C# program. Opening this document, we have this. The first line has two keyboard elements which are rendered in a monospaced font. The second line has a code element that is also rendered in a monospaced font. The third line contains a variable that is rendered in italics and a sample element rendered in a monospaced font for output from a program. The C# program is also in a monospaced font, like the sample element output below it. These would have been in a monospaced font anyway, because I used a pre-element to keep the formatting. Also, the variables in the program are italicized because they are in variable elements. The point of these elements is to be semantic though, rather than presentational, and we can visualize this better with the appropriate coloring. Here we have the keyboard elements in blue, the code elements in green, the variable elements in red, and the output or sample elements in gray. As always, you can find these code examples on our website at zox.net on the lesson page for this video.